New Zealand, a land of breathtaking landscapes and diverse ecosystems. From snow-capped mountains to rolling hills, this island nation is a sight to behold. But beyond its natural beauty, New Zealand boasts a thriving economy. And at the heart of this economic engine lies a centuries-old industry: dairy farming. For generations, dairy farming has shaped New Zealand's identity. It's a source of national pride. The industry provides livelihoods for thousands and contributes significantly to the country's export earnings. However, this economic success has come at a cost. Dairy farming is more than just an industry in New Zealand. It's woven into the fabric of the nation. It's a way of life for many, passed down through generations. The sight of cows grazing on lush green pastures is quintessentially New Zealand. The dairy sector contributes significantly to New Zealand's economy. It's a major export earner, with dairy products reaching consumers worldwide. New Zealand's dairy products are renowned for their quality and taste. This success has brought prosperity to many. However, it has also raised concerns. In recent years, a growing awareness of the environmental impact of agriculture has emerged. New Zealand, with its pristine environment, is no exception. Concerns about greenhouse gas emissions, particularly methane from livestock, have taken center stage. In response, the New Zealand government introduced a groundbreaking policy: a tax on agricultural emissions, including those from dairy farming. This bold move, a world first, aims to address the environmental footprint of one of its key industries. The goal is ambitious: to reduce agricultural emissions and pave the way for a more sustainable future.
Dairy farming, while economically vital, has environmental consequences. These farms are a cornerstone of the agricultural economy, providing essential products like milk, cheese, and butter. However, the environmental footprint of dairy farming is significant and multifaceted. One major concern is methane emissions from cows. As cows digest their food, they produce methane, a byproduct of their digestive process, known as enteric fermentation. This methane is then released into the atmosphere, primarily through belching. Methane is a potent greenhouse gas, significantly contributing to climate change. It has a much higher global warming potential than carbon dioxide, making it a critical target for climate mitigation efforts. Reducing methane emissions from livestock is essential for slowing global warming. New Zealand's pasture-based farming system, while generally considered more environmentally friendly than intensive systems, still results in significant methane emissions. The open fields and natural grazing practices do not eliminate the methane problem, though they may reduce other environmental impacts.
Another concern is water pollution. Dairy farms often produce large amounts of waste, which can seep into nearby water bodies. This waste includes not only manure, but also fertilizers and pesticides used in feed production. Runoff from dairy farms can carry nitrates and other contaminants into rivers and streams, impacting water quality and aquatic ecosystems. These pollutants can cause significant harm to both the environment and human health. Excess nutrients in waterways can lead to algal blooms, harming fish and other aquatic life. Algal blooms deplete oxygen in the water, creating dead zones where aquatic life cannot survive. This disrupts the entire ecosystem and can have long-lasting effects. Addressing these environmental challenges is crucial for the long-term health of New Zealand's ecosystems. Efforts to mitigate methane emissions and reduce water pollution are essential steps toward a more sustainable future. By implementing better farming practices and investing in research, we can protect our environment while maintaining the economic benefits of dairy farming. Section 5. Greener Pastures, Sustainable Farming Practices. New Zealand's dairy industry is not shying away from environmental responsibility. Farmers are increasingly adopting sustainable practices to reduce their environmental impact. One such practice is rotational grazing. This involves moving cows between different paddocks, allowing pastures to recover and reducing soil compaction. Another focus is improved waste management. farmers are investing in effluent management systems to treat and recycle farm waste. This reduces the risk of contaminants entering waterways. These efforts demonstrate the industry's commitment to finding a balance between economic viability and environmental stewardship. Section 6. Short-term pain, long-term gain, economic impacts. The introduction of the dairy tax has sparked a heated debate about its economic impacts on the industry and the broader economy. In the short term, there are significant concerns about increased costs for farmers. These additional expenses could potentially lead to reduced profitability, making it harder for small and medium-sized farms to stay afloat. Some industry experts argue that this could make New Zealand's dairy products less competitive on the global market. Higher production costs might translate to higher prices, which could deter international buyers.
However, proponents of the tax argue that it will encourage innovation and efficiency in the long run. They believe that the initial financial strain will push farmers to adopt new technologies and practices that could ultimately lower costs and increase productivity. They believe that it will drive the adoption of more sustainable practices, ultimately enhancing the industry's competitiveness. By investing in eco-friendly technologies, farmers can reduce their environmental footprint and appeal to a growing market of environmentally conscious consumers. The tax revenue, they argue, can be reinvested in research and development, supporting farmers in their transition to more environmentally friendly practices. This investment could lead to breakthroughs in sustainable farming techniques, providing long-term benefits for both the economy and the environment. Ultimately, the success of the dairy tax will depend on how well the government and industry stakeholders can collaborate to address the immediate challenges while focusing on long-term gains. Open dialogue and continuous support for farmers will be crucial in navigating this complex transition.
Section 7. From Farm to Table. Consumer Impact and Mitigation. The dairy tax has raised questions about potential price increases for consumers. Some argue that the increased costs for farmers could be passed on through higher prices for milk, cheese, and other dairy products. This, they fear, could disproportionately impact low-income households.
However, the government has pledged to mitigate the impact on consumers. They are exploring measures such as subsidies and financial assistance programs to help offset any potential price increases. The goal is to ensure that access to affordable, nutritious food remains a priority.
Section 8. A nation-divided social and cultural implications. The dairy tax has ignited passionate debate across New Zealand. In rural communities where dairy farming is a way of life, the tax has been met with mixed reactions. Some farmers feel unfairly targeted and fear for their livelihoods.
Others see it as a necessary step towards a sustainable future. They believe that embracing change is essential for the long-term viability of the industry. The tax has highlighted the complex relationship between urban and rural communities and sparked important conversations about shared responsibility for the environment.
Section 9. A ripple effect, global implications for sustainable farming. New Zealand's decision to implement a dairy tax has garnered international attention. As a leading dairy exporter, the country's actions could have ripple effects across the globe. Some view it as a bold experiment that could inspire other nations to adopt similar policies.
Others are watching closely to see how the tax impacts New Zealand's dairy industry and its competitiveness. The success or failure of this policy could have significant implications for the future of sustainable farming practices worldwide. Section 10. Leading by example. New Zealand's bold move. New Zealand's dairy tax represents a bold step towards addressing the environmental impact of agriculture. It's a recognition that economic prosperity cannot come at the expense of the environment. This groundbreaking policy has placed New Zealand at the forefront of the global conversation on sustainable farming. The tax is a testament to New Zealand's commitment to its clean, green image. It's an acknowledgement that protecting the environment is not just a moral imperative, but also an economic one. By taking action, New Zealand is sending a powerful message to the world. Section 11. Conclusion, a balancing act, economy and environment. The introduction of New Zealand's dairy tax marks a pivotal moment in the relationship between agriculture and the environment. This tax is designed to address the environmental impact of dairy farming, which has been a significant contributor to greenhouse gas emissions and water pollution. By imposing this tax, the government aims to incentivize farmers to adopt more sustainable practices, such as reducing methane emissions and improving water management. It's a recognition that finding a balance between economic growth and environmental responsibility is no longer optional, but essential. The dairy industry is a major part of New Zealand's economy, providing jobs and contributing to the country's GDP. However, the environmental cost has been high, with degraded waterways and increased carbon footprint. The dairy tax represents a shift towards acknowledging these issues and taking concrete steps to mitigate them. The debate surrounding the tax is likely to continue, but one thing is clear: New Zealand has chosen a path toward a more sustainable future. Critics argue that the tax could hurt farmers financially, but supporters believe that the long-term benefits for the environment and public health outweigh the short-term economic challenges. This policy could potentially lead to innovations in farming techniques and a more resilient agricultural sector. Whether this bold experiment succeeds in its ambitious goals remains to be seen, but it serves as a powerful example for the world to watch and learn from. Other countries are closely monitoring New Zealand's approach, considering similar measures to address their own environmental challenges. The success or failure of this initiative could influence global policies and inspire a new wave of sustainable agricultural practices worldwide.